You must have been there. You saw me.
I told him.
I was one out of 68 people. 67 were killed, and I was the one that escaped.
How old were you at the time? 15, 14?
That wasn't 42, 17.
17 years old.
Out a window because you were up at the top bunk or just...
No, no. When I had the shooting near the door, and they yelling everybody out. So I don't know. If you ask me how I got the wisdom and the strength at that time to act, to do what I was doing. A few hours before, I was so weak that I couldn't get up
And
in
the
the
will left.
Yes. How I could do those things that I survived. But when I had the shooting, I came down from the bunk and I looked down the aisle towards the door and I saw what's happening there. So I says, no, I'm not going there. If they want to kill me, let them come in here. And so I was staying near my bunk and saw how people are going out. In back of my bunk was a window, but it was shut. It was actually boarded up. I don't know, I got the strength to open up that window to jump out from the window, because on the other side was the barrack where I came before, with the people that were not sick, the well people, which was barrack 3. So I said, if I can jump out through the window, maybe get to barrack 3, I might survive. So as I opened up the window and tried to get out, there's somebody staying near the window and says, get back, or I'll shoot. And I says, don't shoot, I'm going back. And I went back in. But that person that was staying there was a human being. Why do I say he was a human being? Because later on, I tried again when people were not coming out anymore. But there were people that were laying in the bunk that couldn't move. So they came into the barrack and shooting the people in the bunk. By then, I had no choice. I said, I gotta try again the window. When I opened up the window again, that's why I said that person was a human being, because he wasn't there anymore. He could have stayed and waited until everything is over. So he chose. Robert said, I don't want to be part of what's going on here, and he left. And that gave me a chance to jump out through the window.
Went into Barrack 3.
Trying to get to Barrack 3, not so easy. In the middle of the camp was a ditch. In the middle was a tower with a guard, with a searchlight. And as I jumped out, he caught me with the searchlight. Hit me with the searchlight, and he screamed, get back, or I'll shoot. And I said, don't shoot, I'm going back. But instead of him staying with me with the searchlight, he was going around. As he took off the searchlight from me, I took a jump forward. And then I was lame again. And so one by one. In the meantime, there were a few other people that did the same thing, that jumped out through the window. By then they were already noticed, and the camp commandant out there was shooting them. And they were hit, and some ran to the barrack, but then the marks of the blood, they followed the blood marks where they went. In the meantime, I jumped into that ditch, laying there again, watching, came out on the other side of the ditch, and took another few jumps, and went around the barrack. There were windows in the back, in the front was the door, so they won't see. So again, I think I don't know where I got that wisdom, what to do and how to run. Anyways, I got to the window, I knocked on the window, and my friend said, is the Arbeiter is here. Let's open up the window, let's get him in. And they did. They pulled me in. A friend of mine put him under his straw set. He put himself on top of the straw set. When they finished, when they killed all the people in the barrack, now they saw the blood marks from people that they wounded. So they went following the blood mark and took the people out from the barracks and shot them. Now, they knew that somebody else escaped, but they didn't know where, who, and when. So they started to go barak by barak, and say, we know that somebody escaped from the quarantine. If he's hiding here, we're giving you 15 minutes. If he's here, you gotta deliver him. If you won't deliver him, and we'll search the barak, we'll find him, we'll shoot him, and we'll take out 25 people at large, 25 people from the barak, and shoot them too.
Wow.
Every barak had a leader, the eldest of the barak. So they came in that barak where I was, and they said, we're giving you 15 minutes, we heard that somebody escaped. If he's here, deliver him. If not, we'll search the barak, and we'll find him. We're gonna take 25 people and you and whatever. So when they left, this eldest in my barak was a short little fella, and he was shaking. What does he do? My friend that was laying, that put me under his trouser, came down and went to the eldest and says, look, you're gonna die today. Just those words. You're gonna die today. Because there's two choices, and both of them are against you. If they said they're going to come in, if they come in, search the barak, you'll tell them that somebody escaped and show them where it is, then they'll take him out and shoot him. After they leave, we're going to kill you. On the other hand, if you tell them that nobody's here, and they'll search the barak and find him, they're going to kill you, and they're going to kill him, and they take 25 people because they kept their words. So it didn't take long. They came back, and they started to search the barak. The bunk that they were hiding me was at the end of the barak. So they went around and looked in the bunks, probably half the barak. My luck again. Maybe they were afraid to go deeper in, that there were still people with sick, that they might catch the flu, so they left. So I was in that camp in two of my brothers. We were working at that time 12-hour shifts. My brothers were working the night shift. So when they came back in the morning, they were told that everybody that was in the quarantine barak is dead. Everybody was killed. People even said that they saw my body there among the dead people. So of course I stayed near the window. I had my brother crying, and I was sleeping very lightly, and I heard him cry. So then I with a very soft voice, I said, "I'm all right, Mac." And the brother's name was Mac. I says, "I'm all right, I'm alive, I'm here." So, of course, but now, according to the Germans, I was dead because all the 68 people in that barak were killed. So now I don't get no ration, I don't get no food because I'm not alive. In the camp were Jewish policemen. So, in the morning, a policeman comes in to me and says, "Izzy, you gotta go back to the quarantine." And so I begged him. I says, "How can I go back to the quarantine? You know what happened there, and the same thing is going to happen again. I won't be lucky twice." He says, "But you gotta go back there because you're still sick, and here you will only inflict other people. So you gotta go back to the quarantine." He says, "But I promise that I will take care of you. I will get you a ration. I will make sure that you get a ration, and I will watch you. If I hear some rumors that there is something is going to take place, I'll take you out from the quarantine." And he kept his word. He brought me a ration every day, and then there was a girl there that was from a different city. I didn't know her before, but in that ammunition factory where I was, she was working there for the Germans in the kitchen. And that was actually my first job when I came from the city that we were thrown out. So when she heard that I am in back in the quarantine that I'm alive, and she's working in the kitchen, so she was stealing food, brought it to the wire, to the fence, put it underneath the fence for my brother. My brother picked it up and brought it to me. So I had food, and of course it took time. I was getting better and better, I was stronger. And then one day we heard that there's going to be a selection during the night. A selection meant that they checked who can run, who can walk, who can work. And so my friend says, you cannot stay here tonight. You got to go to work in the factory. I says, how can I? I was working at 108 millimeter artillery shells. And they were pretty heavy to lift. So they say, how can I go? I can't even walk. So two friends of mine carried me like this on my shoulders from the camp to the ammunition factory. And when we came to the factory, there was section work, and everybody had a quota, how much he's got to produce. And there was a meister, a foreman, was the Polish. They were specialists. So my friends went over to that foreman and says, look, you know this man, he works here, he's a good worker, he is sick now, he can't work. We're going to do his quota. You're going to have your quota in the morning, don't worry about it. We'll put him in a corner, cover him up with a blanket, and we'll do his work. See, during the day, there were a lot of Germans in the factory, of course, inspectors, all kinds. At night, it was a smaller crew, and even those that were there were looking for a place where they can hide and take a nap. So they put me in a corner on a pile of the ammunition, covered me up with a blanket. They did my quota. In the morning, we went back to the camp, and the first thing you heard that there was a selection. They made everybody run, and those that couldn't run, never mind walk, that couldn't run were taken out, taken to the nearby forest and shot. If I were there, I wouldn't be here. So, and then I started to get a little more food and started to get stronger, and went back to work in the ammunition factory, and that's the story.
Wow.
Whoa.
Did your brothers survive too?
Yes, yeah, they
Brothers
survived.
and you?
Yeah, they two brothers. We were 5 brothers all together. My mother used to say she has a basketball team, 5 boys.
And did you lose your parents, or?
Yes, there is my parents and 2 of my brothers, and uncles, aunts, family.
How were you liberated?
How I was liberated? After that, I was sent to Auschwitz, and I was in Auschwitz, and I don't know, it's on my number.
Do you mind? Yeah.
If I can get to it. Those things are a little...
So you lost 2 brothers and your parents, as well as other family,
yeah.
cousins and aunts.
90% of the family. There were.
Wow. May I touch it?
Yeah, sure. So, that's the dead number. That's the dead number in Auschwitz. Auschwitz was the only camp that were giving out the tattoos, tattooing the people.
So you were in Auschwitz when the Allies finally
No,
arrived?
no. In the end of 1944, when the Allies landed in Europe, and the Russians were moving from the east, the Russians were already in Poland. So now in Auschwitz, they dismantled the crematoriums, the gas chambers, and everything, not to leave any
Evidence.
Yeah. So when the Allies come in,
So it became a huge prison. There was no evidence really left of the.
well, there is evidence. They demolished whatever they could in the short time that they had, because the Russians were moving very fast then in Poland. The main resistance they met was when they got to the German border in Germany. So they needed the slave labor because Hitler told them that they're still going to win the war, that he's working on a secret weapon. And so he needed the slave labor. And so there was a tug of war between the Germans. The SS wanted to carry out the liquidation of us, just to kill us. On the other hand, the people that were in charge of armament needed the slave labor. So anyways, we were sent from Auschwitz. I was sent from Auschwitz to Germany. Near Stuttgart, if anybody is familiar with the area. There the Germans were building an airfield for night fighters for the defense of Stuttgart. Stuttgart is a big city. And so we were placed on that place to work different groups. Some were cutting out trees, and we were building a highway, so I was assigned to a quarry, breaking stones. You know.
Wow.
And then the Allies were moving into Germany, and so they sent us. One day on Sunday was a beautiful Sunday day in the winter. The cloud, the skies were almost covered with planes, all American planes. And then a certain group broke away from that large group and coming down over the airfield where we were stationed. We were stationed in a hangar. They didn't even have barracks. Everybody was in a hurry. And so all of a sudden we had screaming. Everybody come out from the barracks. There's Jewish planes coming down. They come down to land. They're going to pick us up and save us. So we said, Jewish planes? Where did the Jews have planes? They haven't got shoes. Where did they got planes? What it was, the American plane has a 5-star on the fuselage.
Oh, yeah.
The Star of David has got 6 points.
Yeah.
The American plane has 5.
Yeah.
And the plane was light, it was gray, it was blue. And so to us, when you drown, you try to catch an astronaut. So we thought maybe this is. Although it was impossible, but we tried to tell ourselves, yes, Jewish planes are here to land to pick us up. Well, the planes came down, destroyed the airfield, destroyed all the German fighters that were stationed there. So we weren't needed anymore. So now they send us further down south, near the Swiss-German border, where the Germans were trying to produce oil from shell. We're doing a lot of it now here.
Yeah.
They didn't have any oil. They lost Romania. Germany itself hasn't got any oil. So they placed us and us there. So the bad Americans came again, destroyed that factory. So we won't need this anymore. So now they were sent, orders came from Himmler, that no prisoners from concentration camps should fall into the Allies' hands. So we started on the Dead March. So now we were supposed to march. We found out afterwards that we were marching to South Tyrol. There are abundant salt mines, that they were going to place us in the salt mines and destroy us there. So we walked, they took us on a walk, no food, no water. They didn't have, by then they didn't have any food for themselves. The first night, they placed us in a barn, in a huge barn on the way, because they were afraid during the night to walk us, because they're afraid we might attack the guards or try to escape. So they put us, like I said, in a barn. Now we had an argument outside between the guards. Some said they were trying to put around gasoline around the barn and put the barn on fire and burn us alive so they can go home. So There was another group that said, no, we're not going to do that. It was, you could hear the artillery, you could see at night the fire from the front line, which was so close. So they presumably were afraid the Allies are closing in, they will be caught and then they will be held responsible. So they said, no, we have orders where to bring it and that's where we're going to take it. And so we took us out in the morning, we were walking again. The next day we came to a river with a bridge. We had to cross the bridge. But by then there was no place where to go. Actually, we were going around in circles because on one side were the Americans, on one side were the French, and there was no place where to go. So when we came to the bridge, and the guy says, we got to take these people across the bridge, and they were already German engineers dynamiting the bridge, putting charges to blow up the bridge so that Americans cannot cross. So they say, you can't go across because the Americans are already on the other side, but if you want, we can place them on the bridge and we'll blow the bridge. We'll blow it with them, we'll kill them, and the rest, so they fall in the water and that's it. So again, the other thing they wanted said, no, we're going to bring them whatever. And on the third day, we were liberated, left on the middle of the highway. The Germans, the leader of the guards, got together and they said now for first time in 5.5 years, they felt sorry for us. And they said, there is a village ahead of us. The guards are tired and we know that you're tired. So we're going to go into the next village to freshen up, get some food. I order you to get off of the highway, sit at the wayside, and we'll come back and pick you up. So we knew already what that means. So the minute, and to show that they're not running away, he ordered, for them to line up and march away like orderlies. Yeah. And so the minute we saw them starting to walk, we started to run. It was in the middle of the Black Forest, if you know where it is. Mm-hmm. And so we just took off on both sides into the Black Forest. Of course, we ran. See, this is the highway, and the forest is on both sides of the highway. The highway cuts through the forest. And here the Germans running back from the front lines. This group is moving here, and here are running from the front lines, escaping. And so we ran right into across them. So some people got killed, got shot. I just ran into the forest, not looking, not turning around, just run. And I came into the forest, and then I joined up with 4 other boys. There were 5 of us. And so we still ran deep into the forest. And so we find that big underbrush. It was April, it was still cold. So we sat down, body to body. We had the light clothes from Auschwitz, we had the summer clothes. And we sat there overnight to warm ourselves. And during the night we heard that there's a lot of commotion going on the highway, a lot of noise. But we're afraid to go down. We didn't know what it was. So one of our fellows volunteered. He crawled down to see what's happening on the highway. Then he came back looking like Santa Claus with a blanket over his shoulder with all kinds of goodies. And he says, right at the edge there is a truck turned over. We didn't even bother to ask him what kind, whether it was a German truck or what. And it was all goodies, and said, the French are there. So we spread out the blanket with the food, had a fiesta. Then we went down, and the French picked us up on their tanks, the trucks. First we thought it's Americans because they were everything, they didn't have nothing. It was American tanks, American trucks, American uniforms. So they picked us up and took us into the next village. had placed us there in a school overnight. And evidently they probably must have passed and liberated other camps because they had experience. Right behind them came a field kitchen and doctors and nurses with food. So then the next day they placed us with the German families in the nearby village. So they ordered the Germans to take us in and they had to take care of us. So myself and another boy were placed with a German family and we were there. The first week I was numb. I didn't comprehend. I didn't understand what happened here. 5.5 years I was a slave. I had to stay in line for that little food, for the watery soup. I was beaten, I was tortured, it was filthy, all that. And then all of a sudden, you're free. You can get up whenever you want, you can go to sleep whenever you want. In fact, the Germans were afraid of us, so we were used to it. But then, one day, I broke down. I was screaming. I was crying. I was yelling, who am I? What's my name? I had no name. In the camp, I was called a number. I had a number. When the war broke out, like I said, I was 14 years old. At the age of 14, my life was tough. My family, my parents were taken away. They were murdered. At 14, this is the time when the young people need advice from their parents, although they think they know better than their parents at the age of 14. But that was an age where you need guidance, where you need help, and here there was nobody, nothing. We were brought up, we were in the concentration camps, thieves, murderers, and so forth, filthy, dirty. And so I started to cry, who am I? What am I going to do? I was 14 years old. I had no profession. Am I going to spend the rest of my life here, sitting here? And I said, my friends thought I had a nervous breakdown. But I picked myself up. I says, I'm going out into the world. Look, maybe some of my family are survived. Maybe my mother, maybe my father, maybe my brother. I don't know. And so imagine, I'm going out into the world to look for family. It's to say I didn't have 2 pennies, didn't have any clothes except that striped prisoner's uniform. And where am I going? How far can you walk? How far can you go? I'm going into the world to look for members of my family. So I walked a little while, and then I came by near a house, and there was a garage. And the garage was a little bit open, it was a jar open. I was curious, so I looked into the door.
Easy. Meet you in the corner. We're going to go over in this corner over here, Dan Ackles, and we're going to see all of you guys together.
So I looked in the garage, and I see there's a nice motorcycle staying there. So I was curious, I go in and I looked at it. I opened up the tank, and I say it's full with gasoline. And the key was still there. Germany, by that time, didn't have any gasoline, and the gas was given only to high-ranking Nazis. I said, this must belong to a high-ranking Nazi. So I says, he won't mind if I'll borrow that motorcycle. And so but I never was sitting on a motorcycle. I never drove a motorcycle. But I took it, I got on it. That's all I knew, that you turn the key and you go, rrr, rrr, and the motorcycle runs. So I got on the motorcycle. I'll tell you, to be honest truth, today I didn't know whether it has a first speed, a second speed, a third speed, a reverse. I didn't know. I just got on the motorcycle and like a bronco, it threw me off.
Yeah.
I cut my leg and but I was stubborn. But like I said, this is my lifeline. So I got back on it. And second time, the same thing. The third time, it went. I don't know whether I went on first speed or in reverse. It was just going. but I didn't go very far. I was arrested by the MPs. Who are you? It says, 2 weeks ago, I spoke at Hanscom Air Force Base. Oh, you? Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta-
And I got the medal from your commander, and I just got pictures from Shana, Lieutenant Shana. Just send me some pictures. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Thank
They
you.
want
That was
It's an absolute
that was a
honor,
great
and
story.
God
That belongs
bless
in a
you.
book. If you
Thank
haven't
you.
done that, that belongs.